One of the most important assets, often overlooked and not properly protected by many, is their credit score. The single most important thing you can do to protect your credit and not fall victim to identity theft is a credit freeze and opt out of pre-screening. This is a very special episode of the Martini Mortgage Podcast, and it is called Freeze It and Opt Out. Now, before I start, I have to make the legal folks happy. So, the primary purpose of this podcast series is to inform, entertain, and educate. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast series does not constitute legal or other professional advice, opinions, or endorsements of any kind. Welcome to the Martini Mortgage Podcast, episode 167. I'm calling it Freeze It and Opt Out. My name is Kevin Martini, and I'm a certified mortgage advisor and producing branch manager and MLS 143962 with the Martini Mortgage Group at Gold Star Mortgage Financial Group Corporation and MLS 3446 Equal Housing Lender. Now, with all that out of the way, let's dive in by stating the obvious. Credit is an essential part of your financial power. When one has good credit, they can enjoy easy credit approval, lower interest rates, and better terms. Now, it does not need to take a lifetime to establish good or great credit. However, your good credit standing could be destroyed in minutes, even if you do everything properly. This is because there are a ton of bad actors in this world perpetrating identity theft. Now listen, identity theft is a real thing. It is not fake news. There is an identity theft victim that happens every 14 seconds, and about a third of citizens in the United States have already experienced identity theft. And every single year, 15 million Americans will fall victim to identity theft. Identity theft will cause your good credit to become bad radioactive credit. And yes, you can recover from it, but it will take time and it will take money to do it. And since I help the families I serve maximize their time, and I help them save money every day as a certified mortgage advisor, let us dig into some proactive steps you can take to preserve your important asset, which is your credit. If you are thinking that I'm going to be talking about credit monitoring, spoiler alert, I am not. To be transparent, credit monitoring alerts you when the fox is already in the hen house. What I'm going to talk about is a unique and free in most states, to include North Carolina, solution that, well, let's just say it this way. As an added layer, credit monitoring is an option. However, there is a deadbolt lock on the hen house. No fox is going to go in when your credit is frozen. One needs to be proactive to prevent identity theft. They should not just be reactive. It is my opinion. The only way that you can be proactive is by freezing your credit. Now, freezing your credit, well, a credit freeze is essentially something that restricts access or locks others from accessing your credit. And it's my opinion that the credit freeze is the most powerful thing that one can do to protect themselves from identity theft and fraud. Yes, when credit is frozen, you nor anyone else has had access to your credit. Now, I know what you are thinking right now. What about your existing credit that you have? What happens to that? Well, that's a great question. It's important to highlight that freezing your credit does not have any impact on your existing credit. So your current mortgage is not impacted by the freeze. Your current car loan is not impacted by the freeze. Your current credit cards are not impacted by the freeze. You get the picture. Another concern is many have is about their credit score. Does freezing your credit impact negatively your credit score? The answer is no. Freezing your credit has absolutely no negative impact on your credit score. And I could even make an argument that it improves your credit score since there is no unauthorized access to your credit profile. It is critical for me to highlight this. When you deploy a credit freeze, you are locking your credit, not your credit score. In other words, you are not freezing your credit score. Your credit score is going to move up and down based on your credit performance. Again, your credit score may go up, may go down, may stay the same based on how responsible you are with your credit. Again, the credit freeze does not freeze your credit score in any way. A credit freeze prevents unwanted access to your credit. The key word here is unwanted. You still have access or the ability to apply for a car loan. You can still apply for a mortgage to buy your dream home or refinance your current dream home. And you can still request a credit line increase from your credit card company or apply for a new credit card. The only thing that you have to do before applying for new credit is to manage your freeze by a very simple process that is called thawing your credit. You can thaw your credit for a specific creditor. You can thaw your credit temporarily for a predefined period of time, or you can permanently thaw it. Oh, by the way, sometimes creditors are not the only persons who might want to access and you might need to thaw your credit for. Some job openings today require a credit check. If this is the case, know that thawing your credit is super simple, but to maximize your time, you might want to ask your employer or which creditor agency they use, and then you simply just thaw that one instead of all three. The credit freeze does not stop one from getting unsolicited or pre-screened offers of credit. You can opt out of these solicitations by calling 888-567-8688 or by going to www.optoutprescreen.com. Oh, by the way, I have firsthand confirmation that the election to opt out of pre-screens offers will have a positive impact on your credit score. The website is www.optoutprescreen.com, and this is the official Consumer Credit Reporting Agency website to accept the consumer opt-out request. And I strongly encourage it to be done, in conjunction with a credit freeze. Not doing it is like building a brick house and not putting a door in. I want to make one point very clear. A credit freeze or an opt-out does not guarantee that there will never be an unauthorized access to your credit. However, freezing your credit significantly lowers the probability it will actually happen. So, how do you do a credit freeze? Great question. Warning, it is insanely simple to do. If you are a long-time listener to the Martini Mortgage Podcast, you know that our show is recorded at the Martini Mortgage Group, which is headquartered in Raleigh, North Carolina, and we are literally in the legislative district in downtown Raleigh. So we are very well versed in North Carolina General Assembly, Chapter 75, Article 2A, or what is commonly referred to as the Identity Theft Protection Act. Under this statute, not only is it free for you to freeze your credit, it's also free for a parent to do so for a child. Yes, if you have a child, you should freeze their credit too. According to the Identity Theft Research Center, millions of children's records are stolen every year. Oh, by the way, you cannot deploy the opt-out strategy until the minor is over the age of 13 years of age. As a primer, there are 3 repositories or credit agencies, and they are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. You will need to contact each of these 3 bureaus. I want to make sure I properly communicate at this point. You must contact all 3 of the credit bureaus to establish a credit freeze. You can contact them online or via phone or by snail mail. Let me say it again for the people in the back. You have to connect with all 3 credit repositories. Contacting 2 of the 3 keeps 1 of the 3 naked and makes you very vulnerable. To help, if you go to the show notes for episode 167 of the Martini Mortgage Podcast, you will find a link to an informative page in the Learning Center of my website, which will provide the telephone numbers, the website, and mailing addresses for Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion to deploy your free credit freeze. We talked about credit monitoring earlier, and I would like to reiterate that I truly do not believe that credit monitoring only is the best option to prevent identity theft. Again, to me, credit freezing and opting out is like a deadbolt lock on your credit, whereas credit monitoring is like a door chime. When the door chimes rings, there's already been a breach. And to me, you do not need a credit. To me, it's helpful to have a credit cocktail of credit monitoring and credit freeze and opt-outing of pre-screens to cover all bases. In closing, there is no guarantee that a freeze will protect you 100% of the time. One may still steal your non-public private information, or maybe one may hack into one of your existing open accounts. However, it is my opinion that credit freeze and opting out of unwanted credit solicitations is the most reliable defense you have in your arsenal to prevent identity theft and fraud. Again, my name is Kevin Martini, and I am a certified mortgage advisor with the Martini Mortgage Group, which is located in Raleigh, North Carolina. However, I help families all over the U.S. If you are buying a home and need a home loan, know that I provide trusted advice with a frictionless process that offers great rates and certainty to you and your family. A real estate transaction needs to always close on time and needs to be stress-free and should be a world-class experience for everyone involved. This is what I offer, and this is what my fellow mortgage strategist, Logan Martini, offers too. If you want or need mortgage help to explore your homeownership options as a first-time home buyer or as a repeat home buyer, know that we are here to help. Just give us a jingle at 919-238-4934. If you have any questions about a credit freeze and or how to opt out of unwanted solicitations, just give me a call by dialing 919-238-4934. And remember, there is a link in the show notes to all the contact points for Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to episode 167 of the Martini Mortgage Podcast. And thank you for sharing this episode with someone you care about. Stay safe out there. Wishing you peace and blessings.